Your Excellency, the former President, our Chairman, Comrade Ofosu Ampofo, the General Secretary, who is a general in all respects, my colleague comrade, Honorable Danda Bodakwi, my former Deputy Ranking, Honorable Dr. Aveji, comrades, friends, and then Nana. It is heartwarming that we meet here this morning, 41 years after an event that was later to change the course of the history of Ghana took place. We do, as the moderator said, recognize the abnormal and yet normal present that we are following in terms of the crisis associated with the COVID-19 difficulties and challenges. Certainly, Your Excellency, crises and revolutions have been classmates. Either a crisis situation triggers off a revolution, or the revolutionary situation brings in its wake some form of crisis. So there is certainly no contradiction in attempting to celebrate, though in a virtual environment, the events of June 4th as we experienced it. Most of us here were certainly not too young at that time, and we have followed that history. We have followed the twists and turns. We've seen the linkages between June 4th, 31st December, and the National Democratic Congress Party. But what we need to do, let me indicate on behalf of the Planning Committee that we did take a number of considerations in arriving at the theme, strengthening the spirit of patriotism, resilience, and integrity in difficult times. Indeed, if the ideals of June 4th are being kept, observed, and respected, certainly Ghana would be able to overcome the challenges with the pandemic. A lot of discipline is required to deal with the pandemic. A lot of accountability and probity is required to deal with the pandemic, just as integrity and resilience is important. And so within the context of this theme, I employ all of us to think deeply about the lessons that we learned during June 4th, those we do not learn, and to see the relevance of those lessons. Is it not ironic and interesting that countries that have got nuclear warheads, ground-to-air missiles, are all now abandoning those things and hiding under the closets of their rooms because of an enemy that we cannot even see, let alone talk about its size? This gives us a very, very significant idea that no matter how powerful you are, no matter how invincible you think you are, the reality of our life is such that there will come moments that that power, that wealth, that invisibility would eventually vanish into thin air. The second thing I like to register is that no matter how powerful you are, there is no temporal force that can keep down the anger of a determined mass of people. There is no way and how many people you can kill to keep down the determination of people, as we saw during the period of June 4th. As we traverse the Fourth Republic of Ghana under constitutional rule, it becomes important that nobody should delude himself that we are in a new normal times in which everything goes, in which everybody can get away with impunity. No. we need to rethink that position again. Those who saw the political environment in June 4th will certainly remember that very few people expected that the very next moment this country was going to explode in the way it did. I do not see any reason why anybody should believe that the impunity, undemocratic conduct that takes place in Ghana today can be an exception. Fellow comrades, let's also use this opportunity to touch on an issue that people have touched on very tangentially, and that has to do with the nature of our democracy. We have always celebrated ourselves as a beacon of democracy. I say it is too early to celebrate. The form of democracy that perhaps approximates the anticipation of June 4th is that the ordinary man should be given the opportunity to elect his or her leader. And that is purely a procedural form of electoral democracy. We need to go beyond that to deal with the more substantive forms of democracy. That we don't use electoral democracy as a process to elect people and leave them to their own designs and wait for another election ritual come 4 years. The entire cycle of 4 years of every governance has to be checkmate at every point by the mass of the people. Fellow comrades, it is in this context that the controversy that is surrounding a new voters register should be situated. And this is the time when we talk of integrity, we talk of patriotism. It is within the challenges of COVID-19 that we have to locate the decision whether we should mass our people up again unnecessarily in a risk to actually re-register, when there is no scientific evidence whatsoever to show that the existing register cannot be used for that purpose, regardless of the minor imperfections it might contain. We normally say a bird in hand is worth 10 in the bush. What happens if we take the entire country through this risk, only to end up with a register that is worse than what we have? We of the June 4th use this opportunity to join many of the voices of reason that have spoken on this topic and say that we are indeed in a new normal and it calls for new conditions. If the idea of a new register was conceived at normal times, the circumstances have radically changed and we need to use the standards of the new normal in our sense of judgment. We say a word to the wise isn't enough. Your Excellencies, my colleague comrades, I do know a number of the speakers who will be following me will be touching on very important themes of June 4th. Let me use this opportunity to welcome all of you and thank you for actually coming out at this time when we should all be observing the stay-at-home pronouncements. We also use this opportunity finally to extend our empathy to our frontline health workers who have been risking their lives since the outbreak of the pandemic. We wish Ghana well, and we know Ghana will not slide backwards. We only know she can move forward. Thank you very much.